3 years ago, I was the actress he held in his hands, the irreplaceable woman he spoke of. 3 years later, he gradually bestowed my endorsements, acting contracts, resources, and even my dignity upon his white moonlight ex-girlfriend. When I was doubled over in agony from stomach pain, he remarked, "You're grown now. Must I teach you how to handle illness?" As I faced deliberate suppression and unwelcome advances, he said, "Handle your own affairs." Yet, when I won an award for my performance and the applause thundered, he stood among the crowd with reddened eyes, demanding, "Suyu, why won't you turn back?" I smiled. "Because I have ascended to my rightful height, and you are no longer worthy to stand beside me." 1. The light in the photograph is not me. I sat on the living room floor, leaning against the sofa, the room as dark as a box, with only my phone illuminating the space. A trending topic flashed on the screen. Lu Jingyuan and Lin Xian spotted on a date. Which fool is losing their mind? It's me. My boyfriend's name is also Lu Jingyuan. The man in the photograph is his exact double. A month ago, Lin Xian returned to the country with great fanfare, and rumors of their affair began circulating online. Now, the photograph is irrefutable. The impeccably tailored Lu Jingyuan shielded her from the wind, supporting her back, his head bowed with a gentle, indulgent smile. I recognized that gaze. 3 years ago, when he pursued me, he looked at me the same way. He said, "Suyu, I will protect you and ensure the entire circle remembers who you are." I believed him. But now, doubled over in pain, he hasn't even bothered to check on me. I dialed his number. The call was disconnected after a single ring. Grinding my teeth, I messaged, "I can barely stand due to my stomach pain. Where are you?" He replied swiftly, "Suyu, are you still a child? Don't you know to go to the hospital when you're ill?" Staring at his message, my stomach twisted painfully once more. I pressed the voice message, my voice trembling violently. "Are you on a date with Lin Xian at Xingyu Time Restaurant?" His response was quicker still. "Enough, Suyu. Stop overthinking. It's truly annoying." I remained seated, unmoving, shivering from the pain. Once my stomach settled, I stood up to find some medicine. As I reached for the cabinet, a drawer sprang open. It was his private storage. In my past naivety, I had been overly cautious, fearing accusations of being with him for his wealth, always keeping our affairs distinctly separate. I hesitated for a few seconds, uncertain what compelled me to reach inside. A black velvet box lay atop, and upon opening it, a cascade of photographs tumbled out, all featuring him and Lin Xian. Traveling, cooking, kissing. Each shot exuded intimacy. In 3 years, not a single photo of us together existed. The picture slipped from my grasp, scattering across the floor. Clutching my stomach, cold sweat poured down as my vision blurred. Another trending topic popped up. Lu Jingyuan and Lin Xian rekindle their romance. Netizens weep and exclaim, "The past returns." 2. Teacher Sue, I'm sorry, but we've been notified that the advertising spokesperson has been changed. The door to the makeup room swung open, and the planner looked awkward. I sat in the makeup room, the foundation before me not yet blended, my palms trembling, throat dry. This was the third time this week. And this time, it was a brand endorsement I had fought for over 2 months. Audition passed, brand approval secured, shooting day arrived, and I was casually replaced. "I'm sorry, Miss Sue." The planner offered a feeble smile, gesturing for me to leave the makeup room. "The teacher for the shoot will be arriving shortly." I struggled to contain my emotions, striving to maintain a calm voice. "Is it Lin Xian who replaced me?" I'm sorry, Teacher Sue." The planner chuckled awkwardly, but offered no answer. I understood. I wouldn't press her further. It was Lu Jingyuan, now seated in the office of the company's general manager, possessing absolute decision-making power over my resources. I grabbed my bag and stormed out of the shooting studio. As the elevator ascended, I clutched my phone tightly. The year I signed, my acting was raw. I had flubbed a crying scene 5 times in a row when he approached, pulled me to the corner, and personally taught me how to evoke emotion. He said, "Suyu, you are the most talented newcomer I have ever seen." Now, he had taken my resources, not even sparing a single phone call. I was cornered with no escape, while he frolicked with his ex, treating me like air. I pushed open the office door. He was signing documents, looking up with a frown. "What do you want?" I stood before his desk. "You know that was my hard-fought resource. What gives you the right to give it to Lin Xian?" He leaned back in his chair, his tone impatient. "Stop making a scene. Look at you now, acting like a lunatic." I glared at him, my voice tight. "I'm being driven mad because the opportunities one fought for are being carelessly handed to others. She was a top actress before, just returned to the country, and naturally, the brand would choose her," he stated with conviction. "With your current state, who would want you?" I stared at him, unable to utter a single word. Downstairs, I ran into Lin Xian. She wore a cream-colored long dress, basking in the spotlight, radiating smugness. "Oh, it's Suyu." Thank you for keeping Jingyuan company all these years. She smiled sweetly. Come visit us sometime, just across from the company. Oh, right. That's Jingyuan's house. You must be familiar with it? I was taken aback. 3 years, and I had no idea he owned a house there. She delivered another jab. He originally bought it to live with me. I even chose the milk coffee-colored curtains. We're moving in the day after tomorrow. Jingyuan invited friends over. Would you like to come? I'm sure you know everyone. I observed her smug demeanor, realizing she must know of my estrangement from Lu Jingyuan's social circle. Lu Jingyuan had never introduced me to his friends. I fixed my gaze on her, every word deliberate. I haven't broken up with Lu Jingyuan. You're the interloper. Her expression shifted, and she raised her hand as if to strike me. I dodged, and she stumbled, falling to the ground. A figure rushed over. It was Lu Jingyuan. Lin Xian. He hurried over, crouching to check on her. Are you all right? She bit her lip, shaking her head. It's not her fault. I was just careless. The softer he spoke, the more pitiful she acted. Lu Jingyuan turned, shouting angrily, Suyu. How long are you going to make a scene? I opened my mouth but couldn't utter a word. He picked Lin Xian up gently, carefully walking away. I stood in the middle of the company lobby, surrounded by gazes, pity, indifference, mockery. My dignity lay shattered beneath these two. 3. I received the notification that I was to play the maid in Lin Xian's new drama. As my assistant handed me the script, he kept his head down, murmuring, Sister Sue, this is an arrangement from the higher-ups. They said it's to raise your visibility. I took the script in silence. After all, I was a third-tier actress, reduced to portraying the personal maid of my boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. How ironic. On the first day of filming, Lin Xian smiled innocently. Sister Suyu, I'm going to slap you later, but don't worry, it's just in the script. In the end, the slap took 3 takes, leaving my face swollen like a gourd. Subsequently, her antics escalated. One day, an entire page of lines went missing. She had secretly hidden it. During our scene, while she was fully engaged, I stood before her like a fool, unable to recall my lines. The director slammed the table in frustration. Suyu, can you act or not? Just as I was about to respond, a staff member discreetly pulled me aside, warning, don't say anything. Lin Xian has General Lu backing her. I restrained my anger because I knew that Lu Jingyuan had never publicly acknowledged me as his girlfriend. I bowed my head, apologizing profusely. Lin Xian laughed beside me, her laughter brimming with arrogance. The white moonlight had returned, and everyone doted on her. I had become mere background. During the break, I approached her. Where's the script? Where did you hide it? She blinked innocently. Sister Suyu, what does losing the script have to do with me? Just as I was about to speak, she suddenly spun around, knocking over the teapot and scalding her hand. Tears cascaded down her cheeks. Jingyuan. Lu Jingyuan rushed in, and upon seeing her injured hand, his expression darkened. Suyu, what madness is this? I didn't touch her. She did it herself. He coldly interrupted. You look truly ugly when you're jealous. I was taken aback. If you two can't work together, then don't work together at all. From today on, you need not return to the set. I shouted. I've shot half of the scenes. On what grounds do you expel me? He didn't even glance my way. Company resources are limited. They cannot be wasted. What about compensation? What about the termination fee? The company won't cover your mistakes. I stared at him, my voice chilling. Lu Jingyuan, you are truly ruthless. He turned to Lin Xian, his tone as light as a breeze. Does it still hurt? Let me help you with your wound. I stood at the entrance of the set, with murmurs of gossip swirling behind me. No one spoke up for me. Even the veteran assistant director, with whom I had collaborated numerous times, merely sighed and returned to his script. I realized that this industry operates in such a manner. 4. As I exited the set, the sky had completely darkened. The air was damp and cold, as if something was pressing down on me. I had no umbrella and refused to borrow even the communal transparent one from the crew. I simply wanted to leave, to escape that place where everyone was reveling in my misfortune, to flee from Lin Xian's smugness and Lu Jingyuan's gaze. But fate was unrelenting. The rain began to fall. First as a light drizzle, then suddenly pouring down as if someone had flipped a switch in the heavens. I stood by the roadside, rain pelting my face, my clothes clinging to my skin, and my shoes filled with water, making me feel as if I had emerged from a filthy ditch. At that moment, a luxury van sped past me. The tires splashed through a puddle, soaking me completely. I stood there, motionless, not even attempting to shield myself. Suddenly, the vehicle reversed. The passenger window rolled down, revealing Lin Xian, who propped her head on her hand and tilted it, smirking at me as though I were the punchline of a joke.
Oh, Sujue?
I didn't see you earlier. I'm so sorry. The corners of her mouth curled upward, her eyes sparkling with uncontainable triumph. I could hardly bear the sight of her. She thought she could snatch what Lu Jingyuan had only picked up after I left the country. My vision went dark. My fists clenched so tightly that my knuckles turned white, and a fire burned in my throat, yet no words escaped my lips. She was doing this deliberately. It was not merely about winning. She wanted to watch me lose, to see me humiliated, to see me trampled beneath her feet. The car window gradually ascended, and she waved cheerfully, "Get home early. Don't catch a cold." The vehicle drove off, leaving behind a puddle of murky water and my wretched self. I stood there, head raised, unsure if the liquid trickling down my face was rain or tears. In that moment, I truly felt that even the heavens had turned against me. Wishing to deliver a final blow, soaked to the bone, I returned to my rental apartment, the sound of my shoes echoing on the stairs like mocking laughter. I dragged my weary body into the bathroom. The reflection in the mirror showed a disheveled figure, pale-faced, with vacant eyes, resembling a lost soul. I stared at her for a prolonged period. It was not that I did not recognize her. Rather, I did not wish to. That was me, Suyu, the one who once vowed to stand in the spotlight. Now I was tossed into the mud, trampled and ruined.
Ding.
My phone rang. It was my agent. Upon answering, her first words struck me like a slap. "You've lost another endorsement." I closed my eyes and remained silent. It was Lin Xian again. She sighed. Then her tone turned icy. "Suyu, do you even know how to navigate this industry? Lin Xian is General Lu's favorite. What are you trying to prove? Are you blind to the reality of this business?" My knuckles turned white as I gripped my phone tightly. She continued, "Your only way out now is to appease General Lu. If you keep being so obstinate, you can forget about any resources." Finally, I spoke. My voice barely a whisper. "Enough." There was a pause on her end before she sneered. "You can't even secure an endorsement. What gives you the audacity to confront me? Suyu, if you refuse to bow down, just wait to be swept out of this industry." The call ended. I crouched by the bed, cradling my head. Tears fell one by one onto my legs, pooling on the floor, unstoppable.
5.
If I hadn't even pushed to this point, I genuinely would not have wanted to bow my head. Yet the stark reality was that I could not find a single decent job opportunity. I frantically submitted resumes, auditioned relentlessly, not letting even a small web series slip by. But after each audition, the response was always the same. They smiled and complimented my acting, then vanished without a trace. They wouldn't say it outright, but I understood all too well. The entertainment industry has its own rules. That evening, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was a male director, his voice deep and resonant, suggesting he was a seasoned veteran in his 40s. He informed me that he was preparing a low-budget film and had tentatively chosen me as the lead. "I've watched you in a few auditions. You performed quite well," he said. "If you're interested, join us for a dinner this weekend. The investor wishes to meet you." I paused for 3 seconds before asking, "Just dinner?" He hesitated, then replied, his tone light and dismissive, "Miss Su, we are all adults here. You're not new to the industry, are you?" After the call ended, I sat on the edge of my bed, my expression vacant. I understood perfectly. Too well, in fact, which only made it more repugnant. I had always believed that hard work would sustain me, that talent alone would allow me to rise above. Now I realized that the most worthless currency in this industry was effort. At 11 that night, I nestled in the corner of my aging sofa in the rental apartment, the dim light casting a yellow glow. I held the script in my hands, yet not a single line could penetrate my mind. I gazed at the makeup mirror on the coffee table, where the reflection showed a hollow-eyed figure, pale as paper, with chapped lips, looking as though she had just been retrieved from a heap of refuse. I could not recall how many times I had sat there in a stupor. I didn't even remember when I had learned to stifle my sobs, afraid of disturbing the neighbors. Suddenly, Lu Jingyuan's face flashed through my mind. On the day I signed the contract, he held my hand firmly, facing a multitude of cameras, proclaiming, "Suyu, you are the most valued artist in my life, as well as the most important woman. I will protect you and never allow you to suffer." Yet now he was shielding Lin Xian. When Lin Xian broke a cup, he shielded her. When I faced scorn, he feigned deafness. Trembling, I picked up my phone, hesitated, then typed a line. "If you still harbor even a hint of affection, please help me just this once." I wondered where I found the audacity to plead with him. Perhaps it was a desperate gamble. Perhaps it is my relentless spirit that prevents me from sinking into despair. I have waited for an eternity, long enough for my eyes to grow weary. Yet my heart quivers with every notification sound. At last, he responded. A mere 10 words. Handle your own affairs. Such a cutting brevity could rival the sharpest blade. I fixated on his words, my fingertips tightening incrementally, nails embedding into my flesh, my palms breaking skin, yet I felt not. Did he not comprehend the depths to which I had fallen, a plight wrought by his own actions? In that moment, I was consumed by the urge to shatter my phone, to erase the name Suyu from existence, to excise this wretched chapter from my memory. But I could not. I was still alive, and I refused to concede defeat so easily. I wiped away my tears and, gazing into the mirror, I resolutely declared, Suyu, no matter how dire the circumstances, you must not falter. You shall prevail. You are not unwanted. You must rely on yourself to elevate your own worth. Even if each step is marked by blood, you shall tread upon these humiliations and emerge as a figure of admiration. It was a period of relentless toil from dawn until dusk. Finally, I received an invitation to participate in a performance competition, not a talent show, nor a superficial beauty contest, but a contest determined solely by acting prowess. To me, this was the last flicker of hope, my final semblance of dignity. In pursuit of this opportunity, I secluded myself for 2 weeks, rehearsing tirelessly, my voice hoarse, my eyes reddened, performing emotional scenes before the mirror at 3 a.m, embodying the agony of a woman plummeting from grace. I understood the rarity of such an opportunity. The notion that hard work could reverse one's fate had become a mere jest within the entertainment industry. Yet I was willing to gamble. Even if it was solely to stand upon that stage and demonstrate that Suyu was no one's shadow, no man's appendage, but rather her own person, capable in her own right. On the day of the recording, I donned a simple long dress, tied my hair back in a ponytail, and my nerves were so taut that I tied my shoelaces 3 times before daring to step outside. Just before entering the backstage area, I heard a familiar name. This episode featured the esteemed Mr. Liu Jingyuan and the popular actress, Ms. Lin Xian. My heart tightened, and I looked up to see them seated side by side, resplendent in their glamour. Lin Xian flashed a smile at me, as warm as a gentle spring breeze, yet it could not conceal the mockery lurking in her eyes. Liu Jingyuan, engrossed in his notes, displayed an indifferent demeanor, as though he had not even noticed my presence. Once the most familiar figure in my life, he had now become the person I wished to tear to shreds. When it was my turn to perform, I inhaled deeply and stepped onto the stage, my palms icy with trepidation. I portrayed a female lawyer who, after suffering the triple blows of her husband's infidelity, workplace ostracism, and her mother's death, stood in court fighting for the rights of a woman whose fate mirrored her own. Under the spotlight, I spoke each line with conviction, crumbling time and again, tears cascading down my cheeks. All the humiliations I had endured over the years in this industry. The solitude of weeping over my script in a cramped apartment at 3 a.m, and the disgrace of being cast aside by Liu Jingyuan, all of it infused my performance. My voice trembled, my hands shook, and my heart raced. Yet I knew I had become one with the character. As I delivered the final line, "You may trample upon me, but you shall not crush my dignity," an abrupt silence enveloped the audience. Then, applause erupted. The sound surged like a tidal wave, with even a judge rising to applaud. I knew I had triumphed. Even if it was but a small victory, I had finally risen from the mire. I caught a glimpse of Liu Jingyuan's expression amidst the crowd. He appeared stunned, a flicker of complexity crossing his features. Lin Xian's nails were nearly embedded in her palms, her smile rigid, and in that instant, I realized her jealousy was nearly driving her mad. Yet, I had no time to dwell on them. At long last, I had claimed a victory in my own life. However, my elation was short-lived. No sooner had I stepped off the stage than Lin Xian intercepted me, her face a mask of fury. "How did you get this opportunity? Did you pull some strings?" I sneered. "Lin Xian, if you're afraid of me, just say so. Spare me the pretense." She ground her teeth. "Who do you think you are? Without Liu Jingyuan, you wouldn't even have a chance to be on camera. And what about you?" I retorted defiantly. "Since returning to this country, have you not relied on others? The skills I honed were the result of my relentless effort. What about you? What do you rely on? Your skills in bed?" Enraged, she raised her hand to strike me, but I intercepted her. "Don't touch me," I hissed, my voice low and menacing. "You are unworthy." At that moment, a familiar voice cut through the tension. I turned to see Liu Jingyuan standing at the doorway, his expression dark, clearly having overheard everything. I froze, about to retort, but he coldly continued, "If you didn't take shortcuts, What gives you the right to enter this program? I glared at him, fury threatening to tear me apart. Lu Jingyuan, I am not as sordid as you. I did not come to this program to live off anyone. I came on the strength of my talent. Do you believe that no one ascends in this industry without connections? It is because I disdain the filth that you wallow in. Before I could finish, the backstage curtain parted and the special judge, Xin Yan, entered. His demeanor was frosty, his words sharp. If anyone dares to slander the integrity of this program again, I will have a lawyer's letter sent to your company. Lin Xian's expression shifted, retreating as she subtly hid behind Lu Jingyuan. He remained silent, his gaze flickering. Shan Yan glanced at me, approached, and from his pocket, produced a tissue, softly saying, "Why are you crying? You performed splendidly." In that moment, I felt utterly undone. No one knew the hardships I had endured, the sleepless nights I had fought through.
Now.
Finally, someone acknowledged you did well. My tears surged forth uncontrollably, a mix of laughter and sobs escaping me, as if I were a madwoman. I was not invisible. As long as I persevered, the light would eventually shine upon me. Shan Yan stood by my side, offering silent support, merely handing me the tissue. Following the airing of the program, my name finally graced the top of trending searches. This time, it was not due to scandal or sensationalism, but rather a testament to my acting skills, bolstered by genuine audience votes, propelling me into the finals. The backstage crew began to refer to me as Teacher Sue, and even those who had previously disregarded me began to approach for business collaborations. I had finally emerged into the light. To my surprise, during this period, Shun Yan began to openly show kindness towards me. During breaks in the recording, he would offer me water. In interviews outside the program, he would proclaim, "Sue Yu's performance truly impressed me. I admire her." In that instant, it felt as though a beam of light pierced through the darkness I had long endured. As the recording concluded, I unexpectedly spotted Lu Jingyuan waiting at the exit, his expression grim, his gaze fixed on me like a hawk. He approached, pulling me close, his tone laden with familiar command and possession. "Suyu, come with me." I was momentarily taken aback, still processing, when he lowered his voice. "Close enough for only me to hear. You haven't forgotten that you are my girlfriend, have you?" Instinctively, I swatted his hand away. Shan Yan noticed the commotion and swiftly came over, placing himself protectively between us, his tone measured. "Mr. Lu has his own beloved. Miss Su now has her own life. Why not let each other be?" I followed Shan Yan away, glancing back to see Lu Jingyuan's expression darkening, as if he were just beginning to realize that he might truly be losing me. Upon returning to my apartment, I had just finished showering, my hair still dripping, when I heard the lock of the living room door click. Lu Jingyuan entered, holding a cup of milk tea and a bouquet of jasmine. His movements so practiced it was as if he had never left. "What are you doing here?" I asked coldly. He feigned ignorance. "I happened to pass by your favorite milk tea shop and thought I'd buy some." He placed the flowers on the table, his long-missed gentle smile gracing his face. "You once mentioned your fondness for the sweet-scented osmanthus." The word once lingered in my mind, leaving my throat parched. He approached, reaching out to touch my hair, even leaning down as if to kiss me. Yeah, I
Slap.
Without hesitation, I raised my hand and struck him. His face snapped to the side, a flicker of anger flashing in his eyes. "Suyu, do not be ungrateful." I laughed, almost breathless from the mirth. "What role are you playing now? Do you consider me a mere jester, someone you can summon at will and discard when it pleases you?" You return home unexpectedly, bringing bubble tea and flowers, reminiscent of a time of fervent romance. Yet have you ever considered that I no longer hold that sentiment? As he opened his mouth to respond, his phone rang, the screen displaying Lin Xian's name. He frowned and answered, his tone turning anxious in mere seconds. "What happened?" From the other end came a clearly distressed voice, causing his brow to relax, though his gaze began to wander. "She has a fever. I must go see her." He turned to leave. I regarded his retreating figure coldly, a sardonic smile forming. "Lin Xian is an adult. Does she need your guidance to go to the hospital when she falls ill?" Lu Jingyuan paused, his demeanor visibly chilling. Yet, Lin Xian sent another voice message. Her voice pitiable. "Jingyuan, I feel so unwell. Can you come quickly?" He left, his steps hurried, as if I were merely a pit stop in his journey. I stood at the door, watching him fade from view, feeling as cold as a stone. You see, the chasm between love and indifference is truly vast. I returned to the sofa and tossed the cup of bubble tea into the trash. But it mattered little. I no longer relied on anyone. My phone vibrated as Shun Yan sent a WeChat message. I just saw you mention a lack of connection with your character in the background. I'll send you clips of some seasoned actors. You can watch them tonight. Their rhythm, details, and emotional handling are worthy of contemplation. He followed up with another message. You are already doing well, but there is room for improvement. Do not fear the slow progress, just do not stop. In that instant, my heart ached. I had grown accustomed to skepticism and belittlement. It had been far too long since someone like Shun Yan acknowledged my worth so unequivocally. I clicked on the video, watching the seasoned actors' performances repeatedly, taking notes while practicing emotional transitions. At 2 in the morning, my eyelids drooped, yet I refused to sleep. I inscribed 8 words in my script: acting prowess reborn, a personal comeback. I vowed to rise above, to dazzle with one outstanding performance after another, to make Lu Jingyuan regret his choices, and to silence all who looked down upon me. I wanted everyone to know, Suyu is no one as subordinate. She is destined to walk forward in the light. On the day of the finals, I awoke early, before dawn had even graced the sky. With only the sound of my heartbeat for company, I gazed at my reflection in the mirror, that unfamiliar yet familiar face, resolute eyes, tightly pressed lips, and trembling fingers. This performance was not merely the culmination of a competitive display of acting, it marked the definitive farewell to the version of myself that had been protected, subordinate, and ultimately abandoned. I had to win. Yet, I never anticipated that someone would deliberately sabotage me, denying me the opportunity to perform. Backstage, as I prepared, my assistant was unexpectedly called away, leaving me to navigate toward the makeup room alone. Just as I turned a corner, a foot suddenly extended into my path. I was caught off guard, and I fell heavily to the ground, my knee colliding painfully with the sharp edge of the stage. A sharp gasp escaped my lips, and before I could rise, I saw Lin Xian striding past me in her stilettos. She looked down at me from her elevated stance, her eyes glinting with malice. Oh dear, Suyu, how clumsy of you. Today is the finals after all. I trembled with rage, pushing myself up from the floor, enduring the pain in my leg as I shouted at her. Lin Xian, you are crossing the line. She smirked, feigning innocence. What have I done? I haven't done anything at all. At that moment, Lu Jingyuan approached. Upon witnessing the scene, his brow furrowed, though not in concern for me. Suyu, do not be so sensitive, Lin Xian, isn't like that. I felt as though I had just heard the most absurd joke, and tears immediately brimmed in my eyes. Despite the pain, I rolled up my pant leg, revealing my swollen, bleeding knee before him. Lu Jingyuan, I am injured. Do you still think I am acting? Do you really believe I would slander her for a moment of pity from you? He fell silent, his gaze flickering, yet he ultimately said nothing. I looked at him, suddenly struck by the absurdity of it all. The love I had fought so hard for appeared so utterly trivial in his eyes. I inhaled deeply, my voice trembling yet resolute. From this moment on, we are officially done. With that, I turned away, striding towards the stage without casting him another glance. My knee throbbed with pain, yet I remained silent, determined to deliver this performance to the fullest. Not for them, but for myself. The lights illuminated the stage, and I felt as though I had shed my skin, leaving only the essence of the performer. I portrayed a mother, grappling with madness and despair after losing her child, ultimately choosing to advocate for another grieving mother in court. Every line, every gaze, was as if I were channeling my own wounds to convey another's suffering. I forgot the pain, forgot the resentment, forgot the betrayals of the past. All that lingered was the knowledge that I could not afford to lose. As the performance concluded, the audience fell silent for 2 seconds before erupting into thunderous applause. The judges rose to their feet, some with tears in their eyes. Standing in the spotlight, I felt as though I had genuinely claimed my place on the stage for the first time. Dependent on no one, unshackled from any halo, I was the light itself. After the competition, the atmosphere backstage was electric. Lu Jingyuan appeared before me, holding a large bouquet of flowers. Congratulations, he said softly. I did not reach out to accept them, instead smiling back with a question. Shouldn't these be for Miss Lin beside you? As soon as the words left my lips, laughter erupted around us. Teasing shouts followed. Give them to her. Lu and Lin's extraordinary love. These are more fitting for a first love. Lu Jingyuan's expression darkened with each jest, ultimately stiffening as he handed the flowers to Lin Xian. She accepted them with a smug grin, her voice dripping with sweetness. Oh, Jingyuan, you are just too thoughtful. Her tone was loud, brimming with pride. Yet, I could clearly see that there was no mirth in Lu Jingyuan's eyes, only irritation. Meanwhile, I stood to the side, smiling serenely. In the next moment, Shun Yan appeared beside me, clad in a deep blue suit, holding another bouquet. "Congratulations," he said. "You were truly remarkable." I accepted the flowers, nodding with a smile. He stood beside me, steady and resolute, a beacon in the storm. And at last, I could stand tall, head held high, confidently embracing all the applause and attention. Today, I was no one's subordinate. I was Suyu. Following the conclusion of the competition, the excitement continued to escalate. On Weibo, Suyu's triumphant resurgence trended for 2 consecutive days, the program edited into a highlight reel that garnered over 1 million views. Shun Yan retweeted the post, captioning it, "She deserves every ray of light." In that moment, I became the person everyone finally noticed. However, when one begins to shine, there are always those who instinctively try to trample you down, unwilling to see you soar. For instance, Liu Jingyuan. That day, just after the program ended, I was in the backstage lounge, organizing my belongings. The door swung open without a knock, the intruder's demeanor as self-important as ever. I looked up to find Liu Jingyuan, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, yet his expression was as dark as storm clouds before a deluge. He stepped inside, shutting the door with a weighty thud that made my heart skip a beat. "Suyu." His voice was low and husky, tinged with displeasure. "Have you found solace in another? Have you so swiftly forgotten our shared past?" I was almost amused by my anger. "Liu Jingyuan, your ability to deflect is as unchanged as ever." I picked up my phone, opened the trending video of him and Lin Xian, and held it up before his eyes. This is the airport. This is the CAF. And here is the CP name that has driven the online community wild, one I can recite by heart. As I gazed into his momentarily guilty eyes, I enunciated each word. "Shall I inquire with the marketing accounts how many times you and Lin Xian have been photographed together?" He clenched his jaw in silence, yet I continued with a cold laugh. "But it matters not, for we have already parted ways. From this point forth, we shall pursue our own romances, unconnected." My tone was light, yet my eyes were filled with frost. Liu Jingyuan's expression darkened, his Adam's apple bobbing as he forced himself to speak. "You think Shen Yan will be any better? Don't be foolish. A person like him might just be playing with you." I faltered for a moment, but swiftly interrupted him without mercy. "Even if he were to toy with me, he is 100 times more sincere than you." I rose to my feet, locking eyes with him. At least he never told me to handle my own affairs when I needed him most. At least he does not profess to love me while secretly posing for photographs with his ex-girlfriend, returning to the home you had already procured. After 3 years together, you never allowed me to integrate into your private life. Now I finally understand. You didn't even want to leave a trace of my existence, fearing it would complicate matters if Lin Xian returned? Each word struck him like a dagger, piercing deep into his heart. Finally, I whispered, "Liu Jingyuan, you truly disgust me." With that, I pushed the door open without a backward glance. Downstairs, Shun Yan's car was already parked at the entrance. I slid into the passenger seat, the lingering scent of his cool fragrance enveloping me. He remained silent, merely offering me a bottle of warm water. As the car pulled out of the parking lot, I finally spoke. "He just came to see me." Shun Yan showed no surprise, glancing at me briefly. "Are you all right?" I smiled faintly, shaking my head. "It's nothing. I no longer care about him." He did not press further, simply driving in silence. The cool night breeze from the seaside drifted through the window, refreshing yet not biting. Shun Yan halted at a red light, turning to look at me, his voice low and gentle. "Suyu, don't let certain people weigh on your heart. In this life, who hasn't he encountered a few scoundrels? To me, you have always been remarkable, deserving of the most devoted love." In that moment, something within me was gently pressed, tender yet powerful. I had thought that after that incident, my interactions with Liu Jingyuan would cease entirely. Yet I was far too naive. My trending topic was suddenly retracted, all endorsements postponed, and even a film I was about to sign was abruptly declined by the other party. I had long known the depths of the entertainment industry, but I had not anticipated Liu Jingyuan would disregard company interests to suppress me, the budding moneymaker. I pushed open the door to his office, finding him seated at the head of a long table, his long fingers tapping rhythmically on the surface. He looked up at me, his gaze dark and cold. "Suyu, you must understand, without my support, you are nothing." I stared at him in silence. His arguments were forceful. Did he truly believe that a mere program championship could alter anything? "Your contract is in my hands, your ability to secure work depends on me." I chuckled softly, suddenly feeling an overwhelming sense of alienation from him. Lu Jingyuan, even if it costs me my career, I shall not glance back at you. His expression darkened abruptly, yet he suppressed his anger. You would do well not to act impulsively. But he did not realize that the most prudent decision I had ever made was to entirely sever ties with him. That night, Shunyan called, mentioning he had noticed my data had suddenly been throttled and that Lin Xian had taken over a brand endorsement I was originally involved with. You are currently being deliberately suppressed, he stated. What are your thoughts? I remained silent for a long while, my voice barely a whisper. I'm sorry. Thank you for always guiding me. I feel as though I can't continue. As long as you wish to leave, there will always be a way out. He replied calmly. I can buy out your contract. I was taken aback, unable to process his words. In our industry, contracts were notorious for their draconian clauses, easy to sign. Yet leaving was fraught with exorbitant penalties. Xinyan, that's no small sum, and I'm uncertain of my worth. He did not hesitate. You are worth it. You are the most talented and resilient actress I have ever encountered. At that moment, my eyes brimmed with tears. In the past, to avoid accusations of nepotism, I had refrained from sitting next to Lu Jingyuan at social gatherings, fearful of being labeled as someone who relied on him for advancement. Yet despite my efforts to distance myself, the accusations persisted that my rise to fame was solely due to unsavory means. But Shunyan was different. He would guide me step by step, reassuring me, you can do this. You have the talent. His every appearance was at the moments I needed him most, never ostentatious, never conditional. He did not shine like a star. He was the light itself. As I read his message assuring me he would handle everything, I felt a part of me gradually filling with warmth. That night, I sat at my computer, drafting lines and notes until the dawn broke. Only then did I realize I seemed to have started to like him. Xinyan began liaising with my former company to propose a buyout of my contract. However, Lu Jingyuan suddenly changed his demeanor. He began to appear frequently beside my desk, sending flowers, coffee, and gifts, even speaking on my behalf in meetings and inviting me to dinner privately. The osmanthus blossoms he had previously refused to part with now appeared every 3 days. And he even handpicked new vases. I observed him with cold eyes as he feigned deep affection, yet he seemed utterly unashamed, growing ever more presumptuous. That afternoon, he once again stood before my desk, placing a box of exquisite perfume down. This is the one you said you liked before. I did not accept it, replying coolly, Mr. Liu, have you overstepped your bounds? His expression darkened. Suyu, I have set aside my pride to seek you out. Do not be ungrateful. I finally laughed aloud. Am I ungrateful, or are you simply incapable of understanding human language? He gritted his teeth, after a pause stating, you were not like this before. I was foolish, I replied, meeting his gaze with cold eyes like knives. But I am not anymore. Let go, Lu Jingyuan. The tighter you grasp, the more I will loathe you. He finally fell silent, his eyes swirling with anger and resentment, yet he could not utter another word. But I knew he would not relent so easily. I could sense his dangerous obsession was not love, but possession, control, and a frantic unwillingness to accept that I was no longer within his grasp. And I finally understood. In the past, I had been his accessory. Thus, he cared not for my feelings, discarding me at will, only to reclaim me when it suited him. Now, I sought to be my own person. Suddenly, rumors of my involvement in escorting and being kept surfaced online, flooding social media with accusations. Someone had purchased trending spots, manipulated comments, and thrust me into a premeditated digital crucifixion. Meanwhile, my company, seeing my growing closeness to Shunyan, finally revealed its true colors. The public relations department was inactive. Statements were delayed, and they even released ambiguous comments suggesting that there might be some truth to the rumors, making it clear, if you return, the company will help clear your name. I sat in my office, watching the avalanche of slander, enduring for 2 full hours before I finally pushed open the door to confront Lu Jingyuan. I have but one question for you. Did you orchestrate these rumors? He turned his back to me, remaining silent. After a long pause, he finally spoke, his tone low and obstinate. If you agree to come back, I can make all of this disappear. I looked at him, suddenly laughing until tears streamed down my face. You still think you can use this to coerce me back? Lu Jingyuan, the most foolish decision of my life was to believe in your love and to be with you. Turn back? Dream on. His expression changed dramatically as he seized my wrist with a fierce grip, his tone venomous. What do you think Xinyan will do? Now that you are utterly disgraced, do you think he would still want you? You are mine, and you can only be with me. I slapped him hard. You are not worthy to speak of love. nor to claim that I am yours. I wrenched my arm from his grasp and left the office without a backward glance. Lu Jingyuan stood frozen, his complexion dark as ink, his gaze a tumultuous blend of chaos, madness, and utter collapse. I finally understood that some people are simply not worth loving. He was once a deity in my eyes, but now he had become the past I yearned to forget. The online vitriol escalated. False accusations, maliciously edited photos, and baseless rumors rained down upon me like a relentless tide. I hid in my rented room, too afraid to venture outside, the curtains drawn tightly. My phone incessantly refreshed Weibo, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. I had contemplated whether Shin Yen would regret his decision. After all, he was an esteemed actor, the epitome of cleanliness and self-discipline, never entangled in scandal, while I felt like a laughingstock, struggling in a mire. But to my surprise, he truly came. Just before I completely fell apart. That night, the media lay in wait outside my apartment complex, their lights blinding me. Shen Yan approached through the crowd, clad in black, without an assistant or any attempt to evade the cameras. He walked straight to my side, shielding me, saying nothing, simply taking my hand and leading me away. He ushered me into his car, secured my seatbelt, closed the door, and rolled up the window before turning to me. "Scared?" he asked. His tone as gentle as if soothing a child. My nose tinged with emotion, and tears streamed down my face. "I'm sorry for the trouble I caused you." He paused, then smiled. "Silly girl. What trouble? You've given me an opportunity. How romantic is it to rescue a damsel in distress?" I laughed through my tears, collapsing into his embrace, as if he were the only shore in this tumultuous sea. The following morning, he posted on Weibo, "Shunyan V. I am aware of every effort and struggle Siu has made. Please cease the online violence. Do not kick a person who is striving to live earnestly while they are down." His words sent ripples through the industry. With a stellar reputation, numerous friends, and a strong rapport with the public, his voice drew an avalanche of support from directors and actors alike.
Suik Sina-san stranded fiercely,
with those who had worked with me rallying to my defense. In just a few hours, the narrative reversed entirely. Numerous clips of my performances were compiled and shared across various platforms, with Shun Yen personally helping to amplify my voice. I saw comments online proclaiming, "So she really has worked hard. She deserves better opportunities." Others remarked, "I used to think she was just a pretty face, but now I realize she truly possesses talent." I buried my face in the couch, tears flowing freely, as Shun Yen pulled me up, offering me tissues to wipe my eyes. Choking back sobs, I asked, "Aren't you afraid of being dragged down by me?" He gently cupped my face.
Sudwe,
"You are not a burden. You are a girl I genuinely wish to cherish and protect." Gazing into his sincere eyes, all my defenses crumbled. I couldn't tell if he had moved closer to me or if I had leaned toward him. I only remembered him kissing me gently, bit by bit, pouring all his tenderness and restraint into that moment. At that instant, I comprehended what it truly meant to be loved and valued. I believed that as long as he was by my side, I could weather the storm. But I had forgotten that the contract binding me, which I never wanted to escape, loomed over me like a noose. Hesitantly, I confided in Shun Yen that the company refused to release me. The penalty for breach was exorbitant, and I was ensnared by draconian clauses that offered little recourse. He said, "I will take you to meet someone." I assumed he intended to introduce me to a lawyer, only to find ourselves at the entrance of a standalone villa. He exited the car and took my hand. "Let us go. Meet the parents." My mind momentarily short-circuited. "Whose parents?" "Mine," he replied with a smile, revealing himself as the heir to Xingshi Media Group. I was stunned to my core. Shun Yen was actually the scion of Xingshi Media? He appeared unbothered. I never intended to rely on my family and never mentioned it while acting. But today is different. I don't want to see you suffer. He led me into the house, my palms clammy with sweat. Upon seeing me, Shin Yan's mother beamed brightly. "Ah, so this is the little girl you always talk about? Even more beautiful in person." Shin Yan's father nodded approvingly. "This girl is quite good. My son has excellent taste." Instantly, I felt a wave of shyness wash over me. Shun Yan's mother patted my shoulder. "Don't be nervous. Today we are not here to put you in a tight spot, but rather to express our gratitude." My eyes widened. Gratitude for me? Indeed, she teased Shun Yen with a glance. "Thank you for putting up with our workaholic, taciturn, eternally single son." Laughter filled the room, warm and comforting, like a bowl of hot soup, soothing my battered heart. 2 days later, Xingshi Media bypassed Lu Jingyuan and approached my company's board directly to negotiate the penalty for breach of contract. Within days, The contract was successfully transferred to Xingshi. The moment I stepped out of my former company, Lu Jingyuan, clad in a deep gray suit, burst through the crowd, striding towards me with piercing eyes that resembled those of a hawk, grabbing my arm with force. Shan Yan reacted swiftly, positioning himself in front of me, shielding me with his presence, and coldly stated, "President Liu, please conduct yourself with dignity." But Lu Jingyuan had lost all reason, his eyes crimson, resembling a rabid dog stripped of power. He bellowed, "You are nothing but an outsider." While Suyu moaned on my bed night after night, "You didn't even know where you were." Those words sliced through me like a knife, piercing my dignity. I trembled with rage, wrenching my arm from his grip. "Lu Jingyuan, you are shameless." Before I could finish my sentence, Shan Yan lunged forward, delivering a forceful punch to Lu Jingyuan's face. I had never witnessed the typically genteel Shan Yan in such a state of fury. The scene erupted into chaos. Shan Yan rose, his voice cold and resolute. Only the most despicable of individuals would use another's privacy to humiliate her. "Listen carefully. I know Suyu loved you for 3 years. I am an adult, and I am fully aware of what transpired. But I love her, and I will only cherish her through the trials she has faced." I gazed at Shan Yan, tears cascading down my cheeks uncontrollably. Finally, I turned my attention to Lu Jingyuan, my voice hoarse yet unwavering. "Where were you when I needed you the most? Lu Jingyuan, you were once someone I admired. Do not force me to disdain you." Those words struck him like a dagger to the heart. Lu Jingyuan stood there, pallid, his expression a tumultuous blend of anger and hurt. I did not look back. Xingshi Media offered me the finest resources and the most reasonable treatment, even assembling an entirely new team for me. I had finally liberated myself from the shackles of my previous company. I turned to Shan Yan, whispering, "Thank you." He squeezed my fingers gently. "Don't thank me. You deserve it." With those words, my eyes brimmed with tears, yet I smiled. He was the beacon of light, gradually pulling me from darkness, making me realize that I too was worthy of the purest love. Shan Yan did not forget the slander I faced. He spent a significant amount to uncover the truth. Lin Xian fell faster than anyone else. The smear campaign originated from an anonymous account. First, evidence surfaced of her hiring online trolls to maliciously attack me, screenshots of payments, transfer records, and chat dialogues, all clear enough to stand in court. The online uproar was palpable. But this was merely the beginning. What Shan Yan discovered was far more lethal. 3 years ago, Lin Xian abruptly made a grand exit to study abroad. Rumors circulated that she was pursuing further education. Yet the stark reality was that she had clandestinely entangled herself with a prominent investor in a bid to seize resources, nearly getting cornered by the investor's legitimate partner at the hotel entrance. This investor had amassed his fortune through his father-in-law, whose family continued to flourish, instilling a profound fear in him. Consequently, he bestowed a sum of money upon Lin Xian, compelling her to leave the country. Now, once again ensnared by his wife, he found himself cast aside, granting Lin Xian the audacity to return to the limelight. Upon her return, she leveraged their past connection to gradually usurp resources, incite discord, and even resorted to slandering me, thrusting me into the eye of the storm. Now everything lay bare under the sun. The persona she had meticulously crafted, an image of purity and resilience, crumbled in an instant. Endorsements were terminated, collaborations dissolved, fans collectively withdrew their support, and her social media accounts faced restrictions. Discussions of her downfall permeated the public sphere, with some fervently proclaiming in the comments, "Lin Xian, exit the entertainment industry." Amidst the tumult, Lin Xian sought out Lu Jingyuan. It was said that she appeared before him in a flowing white dress, standing at the threshold of his office, tears streaming down her face, pleading, "Jingyuan, will you help me? I am truly at my wit's end." Lu Jingyuan regarded her in silence for an extended moment before coldly inquiring, 3 years ago, your departure was related to that investor, wasn't it?" Lin Xian was momentarily taken aback, her complexion draining of color. "You actually don't believe me?" The evidence of her being a mistress was glaringly visible to the world, and yet she implored me for trust, treating me as a fool. Lu Jingyuan erupted. "If it weren't for you, would I have broken up with Suyu?" At last, Lin Xian's facade shattered, and she vehemently retorted, "What do you think you are? Did I force you to stray and climb into my bed? Do you believe yourself to be blameless? You allowed me to trample upon Suyu, ruthlessly suppressing her resources and utilizing connections to sideline her. Who among us is not stained by dirt?" The two of them laid bare their animosity. It was then that Lu Jingyuan realized that the gentle and harmless Lin Xian he had once adored had long been compiling evidence against him during their relationship. Records of transactions, bribes, and tactics to undermine competitors were meticulously documented by her. Did you think I was as foolish as that simpleton Suyu? Lin Xian sneered. That I would wholeheartedly trust you? Lu Jingyuan felt her words strike him like a blow. His expression paling as he finally recognized that the love he had painstakingly shielded was, in truth, a venomous serpent. He had become the greatest fool in that entire charade. Soon after, he faced a collective boycott from numerous companies within the industry. Advertisers withdrew their support, film crews halted invitations, and the board swiftly announced his removal to salvage stock prices. The once privileged young man plummeted from grace overnight. Later, he sought me out. It was a morning when I was preparing for the shoot of my next project, and he stood outside my new office, clad in a simple black shirt, his demeanor marked by unprecedented despondency and humility. Suyu, he began, his voice raspy, I realize my mistakes. I truly regret my actions. Will you give me a chance to make amends? I rose and slowly approached him. He gazed at me as he once did, his eyes brimming with pain, struggle, remorse, and even a hint of humble supplication. Yet, I felt no pain within, only a profound chill and utter disappointment. I spoke softly, Lu Jingyuan, it is too late. The wounds you inflicted upon me cannot be erased by a mere apology. When I loved you, you regarded me as an accessory, belittling my efforts and trampling upon my dignity. Now that I no longer love you, you come to speak of regret and restitution? You realized your remorse too late. For I had long ceased to love you. I have ascended to my rightful place, while you no longer deserve to stand beside me. He attempted to articulate further, yet I had already turned away. Stepping outside, I found Shen Yan waiting for me below. Sunlight cascaded upon him as he extended his hand. Come. It's time to view the house. I rushed over and placed my hand within his grasp. Behind me lay the past that had once thrust me into the abyss. Ahead was the light I had fought so hard to attain. I finally understood. It was not that I was unworthy of love, but rather that I had loved the wrong person. Now I needed no one else's redemption. I was my own salvation. That winter, my film, Dawn, premiered. It was a realistic narrative centered on female empowerment, depicting a girl's metamorphosis under immense pressure, triumphing against the odds. It mirrored my journey and echoed the struggles of the former Suyu. On the day of the premiere, Shunyan stood at the opposite end of the red carpet, his gaze unwaveringly fixed upon me. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of victory, for even if the film garnered no awards, I had already emerged victorious. I was no longer the malleable third-tier actress, but rather the Suyu who, through talent and perseverance, had risen step by step. The film's box office soared, receiving accolades, ultimately earning a nomination for Best Actress. On the day of the awards ceremony, adorned in a stunning black and gold mermaid gown, I found myself momentarily stunned upon hearing my name called. As the spotlight illuminated me and the audience erupted in applause, I reflected on the countless dark nights I had endured. Tears welled in my eyes as I gripped the microphone and, with a quivering yet resolute voice, declared, I have struggled in darkness, faced skepticism, betrayal, and humiliation. Yet it is precisely through those wounds that I have emerged stronger today. I stand here on my own stage, having found my own happiness. The thunderous applause enveloped me as I spotted Shen Yan in the crowd, smiling at me with unwavering certainty. In that moment, I knew it was all worthwhile. On the day following the awards, as everyone celebrated backstage, I changed out of my haute couture gown, preparing to return to the hotel when Shen Yan grasped my hand. Clad in a simple black suit, he held a large bouquet of lilies, kneeling amidst the flashing lights. The atmosphere instantly fell silent. He looked at me, his gaze as gentle and sincere as ever. Suyu, thank you for allowing me to accompany you on this journey. For the rest of our lives, I wish to continue protecting and standing by you. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down my face. I had awaited this moment for far too long. From being invisible to standing on the highest podium, from being scarred to being enveloped in love. I nodded through my tears, I do. The crowd erupted in cheers, applause, and shouts as I joyfully leapt into his embrace. At that moment, I finally and completely possessed my own happiness. As for Lu Jingyuan, the last time I saw him was backstage at the awards ceremony. He lingered on the periphery of the crowd, his gaze fixed upon Shen Yan and me. There was no hatred in his eyes, only regret. He attempted to approach, but, upon catching my glance, averted his gaze, retreating silently. I did not advance towards him, not out of disdain or resentment, but because I no longer required the witness of the one who had once cast me into darkness to affirm my brilliance. From that moment forth, Lu Jingyuan would cease to exist in my world. He would remain a solitary figure, burdened by regret and memories, forever standing in the shadows of my past. The entertainment industry remains a realm of dazzling illusions, where truth and deception are often indistinguishable. Yet I no longer harbor fear. I possess love, the power of choice, and a stage that is rightfully mine. I am Suyu. I once struggled in the mire and gazed longingly at the hypocritical stars. Now I am the star.
The end.
Thank you for listening, and see you in the next story.